Next up, I'm going to be reviewing Ori and the Will of the Wisp. So this is the new Ori game. Are you either of you familiar with Ori games in the past? Jonathan, no. Hugh, yes. Okay. So there's side-scrolling platformers. So think of like the newest modern, of like the old 85 Mario. Ori is a light creature. It's a spirit creature in the forest. And in the first game, you have like this little wisp that'd be with you, and you'd like use that to attack, and you try to find your owl friend, whatever. This big creature. This one, you're finding a little owl, and it has this ability of going very fast pace, and then as you go, it has a talent tree. So as you go, you're unlocking new ways of jumping, and new ways of dashing, new ways of moving around, and new ways of fighting, because you have that wisp. Now in this one, you actually have a light sword. It's like this blade or whatever that comes out whenever you want to swing, and you have a bow and arrow. So for an example of how things get crazy, now remember, this is a platformer, so you're jumping around, you have the whole map to run around. You're jumping, so it's crazy. So there's situations where I'll jump, then double jump, then I can lasso to like some plants, which would reset the double jump. I can dash midair. I can, if I see like, say there's an enemy that shoots like bile at me, and everything's luminescent. If it's luminescent, I can stop time, hook onto this light, and then bend it in whatever direction I want. It'll shoot the light, see the bile in the opposite direction of me, and I fly in the right direction. So you're doing all these like aerial combat or aerial acrobatics, trying to get around, and it makes for this game that's just like at the edge of your seat, fast. And one of the things I love about video games is moments where you feel like a badass. This game does that in spades, because there's times where you pull off these cool moves. Where you're like, man, I just did like cool 5 moves right there to get to this one platform. Platformers tend to Cuphead's a perfect example of this, or Celeste. Platformers have a tendency to become very frustrating, to where like, I just can't make this one ledge. I can't get past this one guy. This game has that, of course, because it is, a platformer. Yeah. But it has just enough to keep me wanting more. You know what I'm saying? Like right when it's just about too frustrating is when I'm like, got it. Thank goodness. Okay, keep moving. And it has a lot of, and again, this is something that a lot of other games don't do. Celeste is a great example, because Celeste, I would argue, is maybe the best platformer ever. Now it's not, because of this one. That shows my grade. So Celeste is great, but there's at a certain point where every time you walk through a new room, it's frustration. Just a huge challenge that will take forever to try to get past. Just die and repeat. This game has these like big middle spaces where you're just running around, fucking around, being amazing. Yeah. And so you kind of feel like free, amazing, and then you get to the spot where like, okay, this part's a challenge.
Yeah, clears your palate, lets you have a little bit of fun before you get stressed again.
Good way to put it, clears your palate. And it has this Metroidvania kind of feel, where you know how you're like, oh, I got a new ability, let me go back and try this new ability here, and I can get to a new spot that I didn't know about. Classic, old school thing, In that process, you're going back, and you're running through places you've already been, but then you realize, like, I didn't even realize that there's this little blue thing floating in the sky that I can now lasso to. And so, like, I do need to go get this, because there's like a little quest thing for it or whatever. So I know I'm gonna have to go back, but now I'm realizing, like, man, I'm moving faster. I can do all kinds of cool stuff. Like, oh, I got this little bonus thing I didn't know I needed. The storyline is, it's pretty basic. It's the same kind of thing you'd expect from the first game. You're trying to save your owl friend that got lost in a storm with you. But the way it unfolds the story is, I'm 5 hours in so far. So you're kind of going in like these little like monkey creatures that are trying to help you out. And then you're everything's kind of native, like everything's kind of naturally unfolding in front of you. It's not like quest point to quest point to quest point. It's just like you're going along, and they do a really good job of like, you'll be exploring a new zone, and you're like, there's something happening. There's a spot I don't have on the map unlocked. So I know I'm supposed to go to this direction at some point. So I'm going here, and I feel like I'm kind of just like, if I can go a little bit further, I barely reach this one spot. Oh, there's a new tree here. Trees unlock abilities. I unlock an ability, and I'm like, oh, that's what I needed to get over here. I didn't realize that before. So it has that way of kind of unfolding the story in front of you. The mapping system's very good. Okay, so the changes from the first game. You have a sword now, which has become like your main weapon, and it plays so well. They do an excellent job with the sword. And then you have the bow and arrow. A lot of times you use the bow and arrow to activate something. So you'll be jumping midair, doing a couple dashes, whatever, you're midair, bow and arrow, and then you got to activate it, and you can like lasso over to it real fast. So there's a lot of like chaining abilities. So the bow and arrow is a lot less about attacking things and much more about activating things from afar. That's what the bow and arrow has become.
You said you could lasso to your arrow?
No, you can lasso. So like maybe you'll shoot the arrow to like extend a bridge out, and then touch the bridge and be able to jump off or something like that. Like it'll buy you a second. It's always about buying you a second. Yeah. Again, like Celeste is a very good example of a platformer that does that.
Is there cutscenes or?
There are some cutscenes in the beginning. Again, with the first game, the beginning has almost too many cutscenes. That is a good point. I mean, it's gorgeous. This game's beauty is unmatched.
Yeah, I've seen.
It's
it.
crazy.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, because it's all in a forest.
Yeah.
You're at like the base of a forest, and there's like times where you're like
an avatar, like
when they're in the Avatar area.
Yeah.
when they're actually in the Avatar zone, whatever it's called,
just
realm
on their planet.
Yeah. And you don't really get an idea of your scale until all of a sudden you're fighting a wolf and you're like, oh shit, I'm the size of the wolf's paw. Like you're really actually pretty small. And it has that parallaxing thing that we all take advantage of now, but it's so cool when you see in the background these like beautiful, you see in the background there's like this beautiful cog moving or something like that. And it's just, you stop and you're like, man, that's just neat. I love games that do that. Very few games make me turn off a podcast. This one has. I'm actually listening to the in-game music. That's very rare for me. And it's overall stunning, and it has this fast-paced movement. I'd have to say it's my favorite platformer. Before that, it was a tie between Celeste and Rayman Legends. It has a lot of that Rayman Legends visuals, the way the background moves, but I think it's probably the best now. It's gonna be the best. I'm gonna give it A-. The reason the minus is because the new talent tree I don't care for. You still feel rewarded for gaining more, progression. But the old talent tree, there's just, I don't know why games do this. Try to help me out on this. World of Warcraft is famous for this. Why do they have to get rid of the old talent tree? Yes, you have only one route you really go. It just feels way better unlocking it though.
Yeah, it does.
So yeah, they had an old school talent tree in the old one, and this new one doesn't have a talent tree at all. It's more like you just swap out what abilities you want. It kind of went from like old World of Warcraft into Diablo.
Made it simple for everybody.
So it's not as cool. But amazing game, A-. Totally support it. I'll be because again we're gonna be kind of hanging out at the houses a lot. I'll be streaming that and a couple other games more lately. Will you guys be streaming any games? I don't know. I don't really stream, huh?
And I'm gonna be moving soon, so I probably won't be on my computer for a while.
Maybe probably not because I like to rage a lot.
I know, but those are fun to watch.
Stream. Yeah.
So we might set you up with on our stream would be good.
I might. Okay, if once Resident Evil 3 remake comes out, I might stream that.
Okay. All right, there you go. We have him streaming too. So we'll try to stream more often so that because we're all gonna be kind of hanging out right now. Everything's paused, so we'll be doing that. Anything we guys want to get out before we head out for the day? I think that's it. We got a lot done.
All right, that's pretty much it.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us on the Geek Freaks podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Geek Freaks Pod. We're also on Facebook, Instagram. You can email us. We have our Patreon and a store. All those links are in the description. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.